Tuna did not collapse because of one big thing. She collapsed because of too many small things no one counted. A meal skipped, a night without sleep, a garden watered while her body was already aching, a worry hidden behind a quiet smile, and when Henry touched her cold hand in the kitchen, Alex finally understood something he should have noticed earlier. The house had been asking for help long before the hospital did. Hello everyone, I hope you're having a peaceful and beautiful day. Today we'll follow Tuna through the morning her fever became impossible to ignore, and Alex finally learned that love means noticing before someone breaks. I know what to do! When Tuna was taken to the hospital room, Henry followed quietly. His sandals made tiny sounds against the floor. Tuna lay down, exhausted. She looked smaller on the white bed. Alex adjusted the blanket. Henry climbed onto the chair beside her. "Mom," he whispered, "are you cold?" Tuna turned her hand toward him. "A little." Henry looked at Alex. "Can I warm her hand?" Alex nodded. Henry held her fingers between his two small hands. Tuna closed her eyes. This was not a big solution. It did not lower the fever. It did not change the blood test. It did not make the fear disappear. But it reminded everyone in that room that care has many sizes. A doctor monitors the illness. A father organizes the home. A grandmother comes with food. A neighbor checks the yard. On the way to the hospital, the village road looked strangely bright. The sun had risen over the bamboo fence. A neighbor was sweeping dust from the path. Chickens moved near the ditch. Someone called Alex's name, but he only nodded. Tuna sat beside him, wrapped in a thin jacket, her head leaning against the seat. Every few minutes, she whispered something. "Did you cover the porridge?" "Yes." "Henry's cup is on the shelf." "I know." "The garden bed near the back dries quickly." "I'll ask Ba Tang." "And the note?" Alex kept his eyes on the road. "We will handle it later." She closed her eyes. "I'm sorry." Alex turned slightly. "For what?" "For getting sick now." He did not answer quickly because he knew this was not only about fever. The missing note was still unanswered. The meeting with Adam still had to happen. Work would return. Bills would return. The garden would still need water. But something had shifted. The family had learned not to wait until someone collapsed before sharing the load. They had learned that fever is not an inconvenience. Weakness is not laziness. A caregiver is not a machine. And a home becomes stronger when love turns into a system small enough to follow on a hard day. Alex sat on the porch step. Henry leaned against Tuna's knee. The porch light came on, warm against the old wood. For a while, no one spoke. They only listened to the evening. A kettle cooling in the kitchen, a dog barking far away, the soft scrape of leaves near the gate. Tuna looked at the paper on the wall through the open door. Then she looked at Alex. "You noticed," she said. Alex did not answer at once. He looked at Henry's small hand resting on her shawl. "I noticed late," he said. Tuna shook her head gently. "You stayed." For Alex, that was enough. Because love is not always saving someone in a dramatic moment. Sometimes love is canceling the meeting, writing down the medicine time, calling the neighbor, letting the garden wait, telling a child the truth, covering the water jars, cooking bad porridge, and sitting close enough that the person who always takes care of everyone finally believes she is allowed to be taken care of too. Beside it, Henry's drawing remained. "Mom, rest. We help." The first evening back, Tuna sat on the porch wrapped in a light shawl. She was still weak. The yard smelled of damp soil. The sky was pale. Somewhere near the fence, water dripped slowly from a leaf. Henry sat beside her with his toy car. Every few minutes, he looked up to make sure she was still there. Alex came from the kitchen carrying porridge. Not perfect porridge, a little too thick. a little uneven, but warm. He placed it in front of her. Tuna looked at the bowl, then at him. "You cooked?" "I tried." Henry added proudly, "Dad almost burned it." Alex nodded. "Only almost." Tuna laughed softly. This time it did not hurt as much. She took the spoon. The house was still fragile. The worries had not all disappeared. "Don't laugh too hard." "I can't believe Batang took a picture. He said it was proof." She looked at the photos again. The house was not perfect, but it was standing. Henry was safe. The garden was alive. The people who loved her had not failed without her. That realization was painful, but also freeing. Sometimes a caregiver is afraid to stop because she believes everything will fall apart. But sometimes stopping shows the family what must become shared. By the time Tuna was strong enough to return home, the wooden house felt different. Not changed in a big way. No new wall, no new roof, no expensive thing. But on the kitchen wall, Alex had hung one small paper in a clear plastic sleeve. Emergency contacts, fever signs, Henry's care steps, doctor instructions, house checks. He postponed the meeting with Adam and sent only the necessary message. He placed Tuna's health notes in one clear place. He washed Henry's cup himself. He learned where Tuna kept the towels, which basket was for clean vegetables, which lid fit the porridge pot, which sandals Henry liked in the morning. Small things, but small things had caused the weight. So small things had to become the healing too. And Tuna, from her hospital bed, had to learn something even harder. She had to let them help. When Alex told her the garden was watered, she did not ask 5 more times. When Mrs. Puang said Henry had eaten, she tried to believe it. When Ba Tang sent a photo of the covered jars, she smiled instead of apologizing. There is a quiet strength in receiving care. Not everyone sees it. Fuang say, "He ate half the bowl." Then he asked if Fever can hear him. Alex played the message for Tuna. Henry's small voice filled the room. "Mom, I ate. Grandma said I must sleep. I put my blue cup near the window. Come home when doctor says yes." Tuna covered her eyes. Alex did not tell her not to cry. Some tears are not weakness. Some tears are the body finally putting down what it has carried. Late that night, Alex walked to the hospital window. Outside, the road was wet. Motorbike lights passed like small yellow fish through the dark. He thought of the wooden house, the porch light, the gate, the garden beds, the kitchen table where Tuna had almost fallen. He thought of how close they had come to calling serious illness just tired. And he understood the deeper truth. Tuna was lying in a bed, but everyone was around her. At the top, Henry had asked Grandma to write, "Mom, rest, we help." Tuna stared at the words, "Mom, rest, we help." So simple, so difficult, so necessary. Alex taped the drawing near her bed. "That is the new rule," he said. Tuna looked at him. "And when you are tired?" Alex paused. "Then you remind me too." That was the moment the story changed, not because the fever disappeared, not because fear was gone, but because the family stopped treating care as one person's job. In the days that followed, Alex moved differently. He called home before the yard became a problem. He asked Ba Tang to help check standing water around the garden. He asked Mrs. Puang to keep Henry's meals simple, not perfect. But for someone like Tuna, who had always loved through work, lying still while others worked was its own kind of courage. One evening, Alex brought her a small towel from home. It smelled faintly of sunlight and clean wood smoke. Tuna held it close. "The house smell," she whispered. Alex sat down. "It is waiting for you. Is everything all right?" Alex took out his phone and showed her pictures. The porch swept, Henry eating porridge, the garden bed damp but not flooded. the water jars covered, the blue cup on the shelf, the gate closed. Ba Tang standing in the yard with one hand raised awkwardly at the camera. Tu Na laughed softly, then winced from weakness. Alex smiled. A home is not safe only because the door is locked. A home is safe when the people inside are allowed to stop before they break. The next morning, Tu Na was still weak, but her eyes were clearer. The doctor continued monitoring her. Alex listened carefully again. He did not rush. He did not bargain. He did not ask when they could return to normal as if normal had been working perfectly, because maybe normal needed to change. Maybe normal could no longer mean Tu Na carrying every small task until her body had to collapse to be noticed. When Mrs. Puang brought Henry back, he carried a folded paper. It was messy, with uneven lines and a sun drawn too large. "For Mom," he said. Tu Na opened it. There was a drawing of the house, the garden, Alex, Grandma, Ba Tang, and Henry. "Mom needs to get stronger first." Henry's face lowered. Tu Na reached out and touched his cheek. "Be brave for me." Henry nodded, but tears gathered in his eyes. Alex knelt. "Henry, tonight Grandma will stay with you. Ba Tang checked the house. I will stay with Mom. In the morning, you can send her a voice message." Henry sniffed. "Can I say goodnight now?" "Yes." He leaned close to Tu Na. "Good night, Mom. Don't be cold." Tu Na closed her eyes as if those words hurt and healed at the same time. After they left, the room became very quiet. Alex sat beside the bed. For many hours, there was nothing dramatic to do. Only wait. Check the time. Listen when the nurse came. Offer water when allowed. Adjust the blanket. Watch Tu Na's face. Call home once. Answer Henry's voice message. Here, Mrs. These hands had washed Henry's clothes, tied vegetable bundles, carried baskets, opened the gate, cleaned the porch, held a sick child, counted money, prepared meals, and comforted everyone else. But no hand can hold everything forever. That afternoon, Mrs. Puang arrived. She entered the hospital room with a cloth bag, a container of warm porridge, a towel, and the expression of a woman who had already decided fear would not be useful. Henry ran to her. "Grandma!" She bent down and held him. Then she looked at Tu Na. "My child," she said softly. "You scared everyone." Tu Na tried to sit up. Mrs. Puang touched her shoulder. "No, lie down. Today, you are not the one serving." Tu Na obeyed. Mrs. Puang opened the porridge container and handed Henry a spoon. "Eat slowly." When Alex returned to the room, Henry had fallen asleep in Mrs. Puang's lap. His mouth was slightly open. One hand still held the edge of Tu Na's blanket. Tu Na looked at them and whispered, "I was afraid Henry would be scared." "He was," Alex said. Her eyes tightened. "But he also saw us take care of you." That mattered. Children learn safety not because nothing bad happens. They learn safety when something bad happens and the adults do not disappear. Alex pulled the chair closer and began making a list. Mrs. Puang watched him. "What are you writing?" "A home plan." "For fever?" "For everything we ignored." He wrote slowly. "First, health signs not to delay. Fever that rises or returns, cold hands with a hot body, unusual weakness, body aches, dizziness, not eating." For a moment, he thought she would argue, but she only whispered, "I'm so tired." Those words were different from "I'm fine," and because they were true, they were a kind of relief. Alex leaned forward. "I know." Tu Na's eyes filled again. "I didn't want to make trouble." "You didn't?" "I thought if I rested a little, it would pass." "I thought that too." That honesty sat between them, not blame, not guilt, just the quiet recognition that both of them had underestimated the small signs. The body aching, the sudden cold, the tiredness that did not match the work, the fever that returned, the way Tu Na kept moving because the home kept needing her. Alex looked at her hands. Who says no to work for one day? When those questions are answered before panic, the whole home becomes calmer. Tu Na watched him write. Will you really remember all that? Alex looked up. No, that's why I'm writing it. For the first time since morning, Tu Na gave a small, real smile. A tired smile, but real. By evening, the hospital room had softened. The harsh daylight faded from the window. The corridor grew quieter. Somewhere outside, rain began touching the roof. Mrs. Puong took Henry home for the night. Henry did not want to leave. He stood beside Tu Na's bed, holding his small sandals in one hand. Mom, I go home? Tu Na nodded. Go with Grandma. Sleep well. You come home tomorrow? Alex looked at Tu Na, then at Henry. The doctor will decide. Not acting like herself. Second, who to call? Doctor, Ba Tang, Mrs. Puong, neighbor near the gate, Adam for work delay. Third, Henry's care, food, clean clothes, bedtime, who stays with him, what to tell him. Fourth, house safety, cover water jars, empty buckets, check the yard, mosquito net, keep medicine instructions in one place. Fifth, work can wait, garden, meeting, orders, missing note. Alex looked at the list. It was not perfect, it was not fancy, it was just a page in a notebook. But sometimes peace begins on one simple page. The common mistake is thinking a family plan must be complicated. It does not. A plan only needs to answer the first frightened questions. Who is sick? Who takes the child? Who locks the house? Who calls the doctor? Who brings food? Who checks the yard? And a child warms his mother's hand. Each one matters. Later, Ba Tang sent a message. I reached the house, porridge covered, gate closed, garden watered lightly, found 2 buckets with rainwater behind the shed, emptied them, covered the jar. Alex read the message twice. The house, which had felt abandoned in his mind, was still being held by many hands. Then another message came. Henry's small blue cup is washed. Don't worry. Alex looked at Tu Na. She was half asleep, but her forehead was still tense. He sat beside her and said quietly, Ba Tang is at the house. Mother is coming. Henry has eaten. The garden is fine. Tu Na opened her eyes. The garden? Yes. The back bed? Yes. The note? Alex paused. We are not chasing that today. She looked at him. Your mother needs to see you strong. Henry nodded seriously, as if he had been given an important job. Alex stepped into the hallway with his phone. He called Adam. When Adam answered, Alex did not explain too much. I cannot attend today. Tu Na is in the hospital. Dengue, fever. Adam was silent, then said, Family first. We will reschedule. Alex leaned against the wall. Those 2 words, family first, sounded simple, but living them required more than saying them when life was calm. It required choosing them when something else was waiting. A meeting, a buyer, a deadline, a worry, a plan. A man can say his family matters. But the truth shows in the moment he closes the gate, turns the motorbike toward the hospital, and stops asking a sick woman to be strong for everyone. The places everyone passes every day without seeing. Small water becomes a small danger, and small dangers become big when a family is already tired. Alex called his mother next. Mrs. Puong answered in her usual steady voice. Alex? Mother, he said, and only then did his voice almost break. Tu Na is sick. The doctor says dengue. She needs to stay at the hospital. There was no dramatic cry from the other side, only a breath. Then, where is Henry? With me. I'm coming. Mother, it's far. I asked where my grandson is, not how far it is. For the first time that day, Alex almost smiled. Sometimes family support does not arrive with soft words. Sometimes it arrives with a bag of clothes, rice porridge in a container, and someone saying, "Move aside. Tu Na has dengue fever. She's being admitted." Batang was quiet for a moment, then his voice changed. "What do you need?" No long questions, no blame, no useless worry. Just that. "What do you need?" Alex closed his eyes for 1 second. "Henry needs food and someone near the house. The garden needs checking, and the back water jars must be covered." "I'll go now," Batang said. Alex added, "Please check the yard too. Empty anything holding water." "I understand." That was another small, practical thing hidden inside a difficult day. When dengue appears, the home must not only care for the patient, it must also look at the environment, the basin near the washing area, the old bucket behind the kitchen, the jar by the garden, the broken pot near the fence. On the next page, he wrote Tuna's temperature, medicine times, food notes, doctor's warnings. It looked ordinary, but that page became a new kind of protection. A sick person should not have to remember everything. A tired family should not depend on memory alone. One common mistake many families make is waiting until panic arrives before making a plan. They say, "We will handle it when it happens." But when fever is high, when a child is crying, when the hospital asks questions, the mind becomes crowded. Alex understood this too late, but not too late to change. He wrote down everything. Then he called Batang. Batang answered after the second ring. "Alex, is everything all right?" Alex looked through the hospital window. Outside, a motorbike passed slowly through the wet yard. Every few moments, she pulled the thin scarf closer around her neck, even though the kitchen was warm. Alex came in quietly from the yard, carrying a bundle of tools he had planned to put away before leaving for his meeting with Adam. He stopped when he saw her. "Tuna," he said softly, "why are you standing?" She smiled, but it was the kind of smile that asked him not to worry. "Henry needs breakfast." Alex looked at the bowl, then at her hand on the table. Her fingers were trembling. "The porridge is already cooked." "I know," she whispered, "but I forgot to cut the greens." She reached for the knife. Before her fingers touched it, her knees weakened. Not a full collapse. Not yet. Just a sudden sinking, like her body had quietly given up holding her weight. Alex dropped the tools. For 2 days, Tuna had said, "It's nothing." And because there was always something to do, Henry's meals, the garden, the missing note that had unsettled them, the meeting with Adam, the orders waiting, the small worries around the house, her fever had been treated like one more thing that could wait. But sickness does not always knock loudly. Sometimes it enters the house quietly and waits for everyone to be too busy to notice. Alex looked at Tuna and knew this time he could not bargain with the day. He could not say, "After the meeting." He could not say, "After breakfast." He could not say, "Let's see tomorrow." He took the knife from the table and placed it down. "No more work," he said. Tuna looked at him, confused, almost ashamed. "But Adam is coming, and Henry will eat. Adam can wait." Her eyes filled with tears, not because of pain only, but because she was still trying to count everyone else's needs before her own. Alex had seen Tuna tired many times. Tired after planting, tired after carrying baskets, tired after a long day of washing vegetables, cooking, calming Henry, checking the gate, folding clothes, remembering things no one asked her to remember. But this was different. This was not ordinary tiredness. This was the body speaking after being ignored too long. He helped her sit. Henry stood close, holding the side of her scarf. "Mom, don't go away," he said. Tuna tried to answer, but her voice came out thin. "I'm here." Alex turned to Henry and softened his voice. This was about the invisible habit inside many homes, where the person who gives the most care feels guilty the moment they need care back. Finally, he said, "Tuna, nothing in the company matters more than this." She opened her eyes. The words were quiet, but they held the weight of a promise. At the hospital, the waiting room smelled of disinfectant and rain-damp clothes. Tuna sat with both hands folded in her lap. Her face was calm, but Alex could feel how much effort that calm required. Henry stayed close to Alex, his small fingers holding the edge of Alex's shirt. When the nurse called Tuna's name, Alex helped her stand. Blood tests were ordered. Tuna did not complain about the needle. She only looked at Henry and tried to smile. "Don't be scared," she told him. Every sound in the hallway felt too sharp. His phone vibrated. "Adam." Alex looked at the name. For a second, the old pressure returned. The meeting mattered. There were people waiting. There were plans, numbers, decisions, maybe even problems that would grow if he was absent. But then Tuna shivered. Not a small shiver. Her whole body tightened under the jacket. Alex silenced the phone. Some decisions are not made with words. They are made by where you stay. When the doctor finally came, his expression was serious but calm. "The test shows dengue fever," he said. "She needs to be admitted for monitoring." The words made the room feel smaller. Tuna looked at Alex, not afraid for herself first. Her first question was, "Who will take care of Henry?" Alex felt something tighten in his chest. Even with fever burning through her body, even with weakness pulling at her bones, her mind went to Henry's food, Henry's sleep, Henry's fear. The doctor explained that she needed rest, fluids, close observation, and regular checks. Alex listened carefully. He did not try to act stronger than the moment. He asked what signs to watch. He asked what she could eat. He asked what he should not do. That was the third lesson. When a caregiver becomes seriously ill, love is not guessing. Love is listening to the doctor, writing things down, and following instructions even when the heart is frightened. Alex took out a small notebook from his pocket, the one he usually used for farm orders. On one page, there were numbers for vegetable baskets. But Henry was scared. Children understand more than adults think. They may not know the name of an illness, but they know when the person who feeds them, washes their face, and holds them at night suddenly becomes quiet and weak. Alex knelt in front of him. "Your mother is with the doctor now. We are helping her." Henry nodded, but his eyes did not leave the door. This was the second lesson Alex learned that day. When sickness enters a family, children need simple truth, not silence, not frightening details, not pretending, just calm words they can hold. "Mom is sick. The doctor is checking her. We are here." That kind of truth gives a child a place to stand. After the tests, they waited. Tuna leaned back against the wall. Alex watched her breathing. Too shallow, too tired. "Henry, bring your mother's sandals." The little boy ran at once, almost slipping near the door. That was when Alex made the first clear decision of the day. Not the meeting, not the garden, not the missing note, not the company. Health first. A family can recover from a delayed meeting. A garden can wait for water. A note can be searched for later. But when the person who holds the home together begins to shake with fever, the whole house must stop pretending everything is normal. Tuna tried to stand again. "I can walk." Alex did not argue. He simply held her elbow. "I know you can, but today you don't have to prove it." That sentence made her look away. Because for Tu Na, being cared for was sometimes harder than caring for others. The morning began with the sound of the kettle, not loud, not dramatic, just that small, trembling sound from the kitchen, the kind Tu Na usually heard before everyone else. The wooden house was still half dark. Outside, the yard was wet from the night air. A few child sandals lay near the door, one turned sideways, one covered with dust from the path. Tu Na stood beside the stove, one hand holding the edge of the table. The pot of porridge was already warm. Henry's small bowl was ready. A towel hung over the basin. The vegetables she'd washed the night before sat in a basket, still shining with water. Everything looked normal. Only Tu Na did not. Her lips were pale. Her shoulders were tight. He reached her before she hit the chair. At that moment, Henry came running in from the porch, his little feet making soft sounds on the old floor. "Mom?" Tu Na tried to lift her head. "I'm okay, Henry." But Henry touched her hand. His face changed. "Mom's hand is cold." That small sentence was worse than any shout. Alex placed his palm on Tu Na's forehead. Hot. Too hot. Her skin burned under his hand, but her fingers were cold. Her eyes were tired in a way that sleep could not fix. For 2 days, Alex had told himself she only needed rest. Tu Na's fever changed the house, not because it brought fear, but because it revealed what the family had stopped seeing. The home became calmer when the burden was shared. Henry became safer when the adults made a plan. Alex became clearer when he understood that protecting his family was not only about gates, money, or work. It was also about noticing when the strongest person in the house was quietly becoming weak. The deeper truth was simple. A family does not become strong because one person carries everything. A family becomes strong when everyone learns how to carry one small part before the weight becomes too much. And that night, under the soft porch light, Tu Na did not have to stand to prove she was needed. She only had to rest. And the house still held her.